Gang, here's the videos going over my games. I'll try to make them quick, and I'm probably just going to skip through the non-decisive moments. So this was just a pretty standard London system, but with both of us kind of getting everything we want. I was really happy to see this just because I thought maybe it would open attacks on my queens, or open attack on his king side eventually, and it just feels like I'm eventually going to be able to play through this. And so I made the decision after spending a lot of time thinking here to push this pawn just because takes, and then I'm really threatening to blast through over here. This is really open for him. I've got two great bishops. He only has this bishop over here is just not doing anything because it's just like you can take the knight, yeah, but you're going to have to do some serious moves to get this into the game. And yes, my light squares are open, but I've got the great bishop here. So he didn't allow that, basically. He did a really weird move, which was this. And so I tried to make some moves to kind of just defend things up. I found a move that it doesn't win the bishop because I can't really capture the bishop ever, but it kind of traps it. So he took here, so he could basically do this weird move where he sacks the knight, and it either forces me to move a piece back like here and allow this, which I didn't like, but this is actually good for me because I just take right here. And yeah, I can't castle, but this is a pretty good center. This is a little suspicious. This pawn's fine, but a little suspicious. But I was a little worried about that. So I went a little stupid here, and I took the bishop, which basically just equalizes the game. And so now the game's perfectly equal. He technically has a pawn up on me from a material standpoint, but we've got a knight, we've got a rook. So I have two bishops for his rook, which these bishops just seemed, really good under the situation, so I thought it was great. So did a couple weird moves here, tried to trade some pieces off. I was really worried about this knight going here, so I castled early to prevent that. And then here's where I kind of did a dummy move. This knight seemed so powerful because it was doing such a good job guarding here, and the knight was threatening to jump in here, that even with takes, it's getting a little suspicious. He brings the rook over, and I'm running out of spaces. So I just tried to trade everything off. This is a really good pawn. He's not even worried about defending this pawn because basically you can't. Because you try to defend it, and then I take this pawn, and then my knight's really good. So anyways, takes. You can't take the queen because this is basically unstoppable. I need to find a way to stop this, which is very difficult. The bishop can't get in the game. This doesn't work. Even knight right here doesn't work because after this, yes, I can't, let's just say I make a dumb move. I can't do this, obviously. I can take my queen, and yes, you can't promote, but then you do this, and then you're starting to get in trouble. So, can't take the queen, so tried to defend my pawns. He did this great move, which prepares this, and you can't take because of this, so I just move my bishop back. I take. Can't take here because it's not winning. It just means you can't do this because I take over here. So you basically it forces the queen trade, and it's not the best, but the game still goes on and it's equal. And maybe I've got a really nice bishop here that's really annoying to deal with. So he's probably going to win this eventually if I'm not careful, or if I make a blunder, but that didn't happen. He moved there, and then he walks into the knight fork, and then the game was basically equal, except now I'm the one who's winning because all of a sudden I have an extra bishop. So game continues on. Got to get rid of some pieces here, and then eventually it was just a king race to the center, and some pieces get exchanged. All my pawns are defended, and then the rooks got out of there. And then at this point, it was super clear I was going to win. It was just how am I going to do it? And is he somehow going to get a pass pawn? Now, here I thought that he couldn't move here because in my head I had done this bishop move at some point. So that was a mistake, and a little bit of my advantage is gone, but the engine's still happy. So wanted to prevent some nonsense of him moving down here, just because if he moves too far away, I'm just going to win these pawns eventually. So he did this, which was a huge blunder, and the game gets... I'm going to turn off the lines here because it's going to take my engine forever. This is an interesting point in the game where I thought that it might be drawn if he plays perfectly, because I was thinking after takes. Okay, I'm going to be able to sack the bishop for this pawn, but I got to move quick. Moves here, I take, here, bam, 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 bam. And I basically am drawing this game, because once you do here, it's here. And basically no matter what you do, you're... Actually, that's not drawn, so that don't do that. But if he moves here, for instance, you go here, here, and then it's all over. He wins the pawn, or if you don't do there, he just goes here and stalemate. So I was like, he's going to draw the game. My only hope was maybe instead of taking with the pawn, he'll take with the king. And this is even better for me because if I go here and he tries to catch up with me, it doesn't actually work because let's just say he tries to go around here to defend the pawn, move my bishop over, and no matter what he does, we get here and he can't move to these squares or these squares, so he has to move away. I win the pawn and the game's over. So could have gone either way here, but what I found was great is after this, I realized there's a move I was overlooking, which was bishop right here. And this is crazy because he can't move here, he can't move here, he can't move here. Only move he can do is push his backward pawn, and then the game was over. So that was a pretty interesting game. I was doing great in the middle, great in the beginning, terrible in the middle, and then great again at the end. But that's about it.